Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into complex topics, armed with the best insights from our sources to help you become truly well-informed. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a role that's absolutely critical to nearly every business, yet often operates kind of behind the scenes, the purchasing manager. This deep dive was actually sparked by a fantastic request from one of you, curious about the strategic side of this seemingly straightforward job.
It's a brilliant request, actually, because while many might picture a manager as someone just telling people what to do, the purchasing manager role is highly specialized. It's strategic.
Right.
They're really key in making sure a company not only runs smoothly day to day, but can also innovate and grow successfully. A really good purchasing manager, they don't just save money. They can be a huge driver of competitive advantage. Resilience, too.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we're going to unpack for you today. We'll delve into the strategic role they play, what a typical, often pretty dynamic day involves for them. We'll look at the surprising mix of skills they need, high level and really granular stuff, and the often unseen challenges they have to tackle. Plus, we've got some essential business vocabulary that'll help you sound like a real insider. Okay, so let's unpack this then. Beyond just, buying things, what truly is a purchasing manager?
Well, at its heart, a purchasing manager is like the linchpin in how a company gets what it needs. You could say their mission is securing the right products, the right services.
The right amounts.
Exactly. The right quantities at the best possible time, and crucially, for the best possible value. And that's not always just the lowest price, right? It's more strategic than just filling orders. It's about sourcing and making sure things keep running.
So they're navigating needs from inside the company and what's happening outside in the market. Sounds like a constant dance between departments and vendors.
Precisely. Internally, yeah, there's a lot of cross-functional work. They might be talking to engineering about a specific part for a new gadget, or maybe marketing needs promotional stuff.
Or even just office supplies, I suppose.
Or office supplies or facilities needing infrastructure bits, yeah. They have to really get what the internal needs are, sometimes digging into complex specs or thinking ahead about what will be needed next. And then externally, they're kind of the company's face to suppliers. Researching new ones, checking market trends, talking directly, evaluating who to partner with.
That interaction means a lot of talking, emailing, and, like you said, negotiation. How does that work beyond just, haggling over the price? Is it more complex?
Oh, definitely. Negotiation here is, well, it's way more sophisticated than just asking for a discount. It's about using the company's buying power smartly, maybe understanding a bit about the supplier's costs, and negotiating terms that look at the bigger picture, what some call the total cost of ownership, or TCO.
TCO.
Yeah. So, like, one supplier might be a bit pricier per item, but offers great payment terms or delivers faster or has amazing support later on. That could actually save money overall. Or maybe they negotiate long-term deals for bulk discounts or get good return policies in place. It's really about getting the best overall value proposition, not just the cheapest price tag right now.
And it's definitely not just about getting the cheapest product, is it? Because we all know how that can sometimes backfire, cost you more down the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cheapest thing can end up being the most expensive, really. Quality control is huge. A purchasing manager has to look hard at, is this strong? Is it safe? Is it actually going to work? Because poor quality isn't just annoying. It can mean production stops or product recalls, warranty claims, damage to the company's reputation, losing customers even. It really takes a sharp eye for detail and thinking ahead about the impact of every single purchase.
So beyond that immediate buying part, planning and keeping really good records sound absolutely critical for the long haul.
Oh, they're fundamental. Planning means thinking ahead, forecasting, looking at past data maybe, or working with sales and production to figure out what's coming up. They need to make sure important supplies get ordered early enough so you don't run out and everything grinds to a halt.
Right.
But also not ordering too much or way too early, because that just ties up cash and takes up space. Sometimes they use things like just-in-time, JIT, inventory methods, or maybe keep a buffer stock for really critical stuff. And the record keeping, it's not just paperwork. Keeping track of what was bought, when, the cost, who, from. That's the backbone for analyzing spending, staying on budget, having an audit trail. Often this is all managed in big company software systems like ERP systems. It helps them make decisions based on data and spot problems quickly. So yeah, the job really demands sharp thinking, good communication, and strong decision-making skills.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. What does a typical day actually look like for someone juggling all this? Sounds like they're constantly putting out fires while also trying to build bridges for the future.
Yeah, it's rarely boring. A purchasing manager's day often kicks off with, well, diving into emails. And these aren't just routine notes. They could be urgent updates from suppliers about shipping delays, maybe unexpected price hikes, or quick requests from inside the company needing something right away. Acting fast is crucial, like a late delivery on a key part could literally stop a production line. That needs immediate sort of crisis management.
Wow. Okay, so after that initial email triage, they're probably digging into what the company actually needs, checking inventory levels.
Exactly. Next, they'll likely look at inventory reports, talk to different departments, maybe notice, printer paper's getting low, or a specific raw material for a big product is running down. And it's not just about hitting reorder. It often means checking how the usual vendor did last time, maybe looking for other options, or even researching the market for better prices or newer products. Planning ahead like that keeps things running smoothly.
And it's not all just screens and emails, right? There must be actual conversations, real talks with suppliers that build those relationships.
Oh, absolutely. A good chunk of their day is often spent on the phone or in meetings, virtual, or maybe even in person with suppliers, current ones, and potential new ones. These talks can be about anything from drilling down into product specs and quality standards to negotiating complex deals for big orders or sorting out problems. They have to be good at being, polite but also firm, making sure the company gets a good deal, but without burning bridges with important suppliers. It's a real balancing act, diplomacy and being assertive. And through all this, staying organized is just non-negotiable. They keep detailed notes about what was discussed, what's been ordered, what still needs doing. Often they use special procurement software or the company's main ERP system to track everything, create reports on spending, and give updates to finance and the leadership team.
And you mentioned they're not just stuck behind a desk all day. There's a hands-on part too, quality checks and stuff.
That's right. Sometimes, yeah, a purchasing manager will actually go and physically check items when they arrive. Maybe head to the warehouse or delivery area, inspect a shipment, make sure the count is right, look for damage, check the packaging isn't flimsy. Reporting problems right away and talking to the supplier to fix it, get a refund, a replacement that's vital, not just to get the money back, but to keep suppliers accountable. It builds trust, ironically. Then, as the day winds down, a lot of their thinking shifts towards the future. Planning ahead, looking at production schedules for next month, figuring out what's needed for busy seasons or maybe a new product launch, and always looking for ways to source things smarter, maybe save money or make the whole supply chain stronger. They're constantly trying to improve the process itself, maybe looking at new tech or better long-term deals.
So, with such a really varied role, what kind of mindset and skills does a person actually need to succeed as a purchasing manager? It sounds like a lot more than just being good at shopping.
Well, absolutely. Being a purchasing manager takes a pretty sophisticated mix of skills. It's way beyond just processing transactions. First off, communication. Just crucial. They need to explain complex needs clearly to people inside the company, engineers, marketing, whoever, and also communicate really clear expectations to outside suppliers.
Mhm.
Misunderstandings here can be very costly, cause delays.
Right. Ordering the wrong thing.
Exactly. Waste time and money. Second, organizational acumen. They're juggling so many orders, contracts, price lists, delivery dates. They often use advanced spreadsheets or special software like we mentioned. Keeping that data clean and accurate is key to stopping stockouts, not ordering too much, making sure all the rules are followed. Third, strategic decision making. This happens constantly. They're always comparing suppliers, products, prices, often under pressure. It involves thinking about costs versus benefits, risks,
Mhm.
making quick, smart choices that really affect the company's bottom line and ability to operate.
Like,
Fourth, problem solving. It's just part of the daily grind. A key supplier has a problem, a shipment gets stuck somewhere, something arrives broken. They need to stay calm, think clearly, and figure out a solution fast. That might mean finding a backup supplier quickly, renegotiating something, dealing with returns.
so reacting quickly but thoughtfully.
Precisely. Fifth, analytical skills. And this goes beyond just basic math. They need to be able to read financial reports, analyze market trends, calculate that total cost of ownership we talked about, maybe even assess how financially stable a supplier is. It could mean comparing really complex pricing structures or figuring out if buying in bulk is better than getting smaller amounts delivered just when needed. Sixth, patience and diplomacy. These are really important, especially when building those long-term relationships with suppliers, or maybe smoothing over disagreements inside the company about, say, budget versus the desired quality. They often have to manage tricky, interpersonal stuff to get the best results. And finally, maybe most importantly, integrity and responsibility. They're handling significant amounts of the company's money. They absolutely have to act ethically, always in the company's best interest. And they need to take ownership of the outcomes, whether things go well or badly.
Okay, so even with all those skills, this job clearly isn't without its tough spots, is it? What are some of the really challenging moments or unexpected hurdles they face?
Yeah, this is where, as they say, the rubber meets the road. Because these challenges are often systemic, they can pop up anytime, really without warning. A major one is supply chain disruptions. And we're not just talking a delivery being a day late. Think bigger, a natural disaster, some geopolitical crisis, a fire at a key factory, something that hits the whole supply chain. If crucial materials just don't arrive, whole production lines can stop. That means lost sales, unhappy customers. It demands really good backup planning and being able to find alternatives fast.
This sounds incredibly stressful.
It can be. Then there's quality control and supplier performance issues. Getting the wrong items or broken stuff or just poor quality things. It's super frustrating. It ties up money and stuff you can't use, and it can risk the quality of your own products. The manager needs strong checks in place, and they need to be good at negotiating fixes, refunds, replacements, credits, but also deciding, maybe we just can't work with this supplier anymore if they keep messing up. Price volatility is another constant battle. The cost of raw materials, shipping, even labor. It can shoot up suddenly because of market changes, inflation, economic wobbles.
Huh.
A purchasing manager has to keep an eye on these trends constantly, maybe look into ways to hedge against changes, or perhaps change how they buy, maybe more bulk buying or finding more suppliers to spread the risk.
Managing all that sounds like a massive juggling act.
It is. Which leads to the challenge of managing multiple priorities and time constraints. It's huge. They often have several urgent, high-stakes tasks all needing attention at the same time. Maybe drafting a new contract, dealing with a critical delivery problem, and analyzing bids from different suppliers, all at once. Being really good at managing time and knowing what's most important is essential to avoid just getting overwhelmed. Navigating complex stakeholder relationships is another daily test. They deal with so many different departments inside the company, right? Finance wants cost cut, engineering needs very specific, maybe expensive parts, sales wants everything delivered yesterday. The purchasing manager often has to act like a mediator, try to get everyone on the same page, and explain the why behind procurement decisions clearly.
Yeah, I can see how that could get tricky.
And then there's technological integration. Modern buying relies so much on software, those ERP systems, special e-procurement platforms, tools for analyzing spending. When these systems have glitches or need updates, it can cause real headaches, delays, data problems. So being comfortable with these tools and knowing what to do when they act up is pretty critical now. And finally, just the underlying pressure, the constant pressure to save money, minimize risks, make sure everything arrives on time. It can be intense. Every decision has weight, financially and operationally. So they need to stay calm, think clearly even when things get stressful, and know when to ask for help if needed.
Wow. So to navigate this really complex, high-stakes world, there's definitely a specific language involved. Let's decode some of those terms and phrases that really define this area. Knowing these will definitely make you sound like you belong in those business talks.
Absolutely. And these aren't just jargon. They're concepts that really reflect the day-to-day realities of how businesses work.
Okay, let's start with vendor. What exactly is a vendor, and how is it maybe different from a supplier? I hear both used.
Yeah, they are often used interchangeably, but there can be a subtle difference. A vendor is generally someone who sells goods or services. You might think of them more in a retail context, or maybe for more transactional, less critical purchases. A supplier, on the other hand, often implies a more strategic, maybe ongoing relationship, especially for things like raw materials or components that are really essential to what the company makes or does. Like you might have a software vendor, but a critical microchip supplier.
Got it. Okay, next, suitable replacement. Why not just say replacement? What does suitable add?
Well, suitable really emphasizes that it has to be appropriate or right for the specific need. When a purchasing manager needs a suitable replacement, they aren't just finding any alternative. They need one that truly matches the original in terms of quality, the specs, how quickly it can be delivered, the cost. It has to fit the requirement properly. If your main source for, I don't know, a specific type of organic cotton goes offline, you need a suitable replacement that meets all your ethical and quality standards, not just any cotton.
Right, makes perfect sense. What about sole supplier? That sounds like it could be good or maybe risky.
Exactly, both.
Yeah.
A sole supplier is literally the only company providing a particular product or service. That might give you advantages, maybe better pricing because you buy so much from them or they have unique expertise. But yeah, it's also a big risk. If that single supplier has problems, a strike, a fire, quality issues, maybe they go bankrupt. Your whole operation could be in serious trouble. Deciding to rely on a sole supplier is a major strategic call.
Okay, and draft a contract. Why the word draft? Why not just write it?
Draft is a bit more formal, a more specific verb used when you're preparing legal or official documents like contracts. To draft a contract implies careful preparation, using the right legal language, often creating a first version that needs to be reviewed, maybe negotiated, before it's finalized and signed. You also hear about drafting a proposal or drafting a business plan. It suggests a formal preparation stage.
Okay, cool. Now for some phrases that you hear a lot in business settings, how about rest assured?
Yeah, this is a common one. It's a phrase you use to try and give someone confidence, to stop them worrying. When you tell someone to rest assured, you're basically saying, you can trust me on this, or don't worry, I've got it under control. It's about building that sense of reliability.
And that seems related to count on, Uzme.
Exactly. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
To count on someone or something means you can depend on them, you rely on them, you expect them to do what they say they'll do. In purchasing, a manager absolutely needs suppliers they can count on for consistent quality and on-time delivery. It's fundamental.
Okay, and for the long run, this isn't about jogging, right?
No, not usually.
Yeah.
For the long run just means thinking about the long-term situation or consequences.
Yeah.
When a purchasing manager is choosing a supplier, they're not just looking at this one order's price, they're thinking about how this relationship might benefit the company for the long run, maybe through reliability or future innovation or potential cost savings down the road. It's about strategic perspective.
Makes sense. And a classic. Get down to business. I feel like I hear this in movies all the time.
You probably do. It's a very common phrase used to signal, okay, the small talk is over, let's start discussing the real reason we're here. It means let's focus now on the serious work or the main topic of the meeting.
Right, time to focus. Lastly, jumped on the bandwagon. This one always creates a funny image in my head.
Yeah, it does. To jump on the bandwagon means to start doing something or adopting an idea simply because it's become popular or because lots of other people are doing it. In business, maybe a company jumps on the bandwagon of using a certain type of sustainable packaging because everyone else is doing it and customers expect it now. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, just that you're joining a trend.
We have really taken a deep dive today into the fascinating and often unseen world of the purchasing manager. We've gone from their crucial day-to-day tasks and strategic duties
Right.
to the really complex mix of skills they need and those very real challenges they have to constantly manage.
And understanding this role, it doesn't just add words to your vocabulary. It gives you a really practical window into how businesses actually work, how all those pieces connect. It shows how knowledge gets used in a really dynamic way.
And for you, our listener, hopefully it's about gaining confidence, seeing how language gets used in these real-world, pretty high-stakes situations. And who knows, maybe it even sparks some ideas for your own career path in the whole world of business operations. So the next time you pick up, say, a new smartphone, or really any product, think for a second, not just about the brand name on it, but maybe spare a thought for the diligent, detail-focused, strategic purchasing manager who worked behind the scenes to make sure all the right bits and pieces arrived at the right time and at the best value just to bring that product to you. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other unseen strategic roles are quietly shaping the products and services we encounter every single day? Thanks for diving in with us.